What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So, if you guys follow me on my Instagram at Boxing Ego, then you would have seen this yesterday when I posted. Made a graphic for you guys, and came out pretty sweet. And I want to talk about this fight, my segment Ego Matchmakers, where I try to play matchmaker, do my best to make some intriguing matchups for us to debate and discuss and that kind of thing. So, I picked Terence Crawford versus Mikey Garcia. Now, this fight really doesn't need much introduction. Mikey Garcia was allegedly in talks to fight Yuriorkis Gamboa at one point. It's supposed to be made in the Forum, I believe, in May, and that fight never panned out. Nothing was ever done, and he didn't get that fight. Meanwhile, they replaced that date in that same venue with Juan Manuel Marquez and Alvarado, and that fight was a good fight as well. Yuriorkis Gamboa since has gotten beat by Terence Crawford. He was stopped in 9 rounds. I got a lot of video views on that one, so shout out to everyone that viewed that. Shout out to everyone that watched it. It was a great night of boxing. If you didn't, then you missed it. So to me, this fight needs to happen. We wanted to see, or at least me, I wanted to see Gamboa in there with Mikey Garcia. Now, I'm not anti that fight, but since he lost, even though it was a respectable loss, it seems a more natural fight would be the best fighting the best. Mikey Garcia is undefeated. Terence Crawford is undefeated. And Terence Crawford beat guys like Danny Garcia and also beat Mikey Garcia in the amateurs. So this is a very intriguing matchup to me to see how both fighters have progressed, because when you're in the amateurs, there's different rules, different form of scoring, and part of what makes you a good fighter is experience, going through trials and tribulations, losses in the amateurs, losses in the pro rankings. Those are things that you can either sink or swim, and you can either, when you get knocked down, get back up. Some people in the amateurs have been knocked out and then went on to have successful careers in the pro game. So it all depends, and that's all valuable experience that you gain coming up. Just fighting, just continually fighting. That's why typically, statistically, the fighters who have an amateur background have better pro careers than the fighters who turn pro late or start boxing late and then turn pro and don't really have much amateur experience, because some of these kids have been doing it since they were 8, 9, 10, maybe even before that. So there's little things that they learn and that become second nature to them, whereas someone who started boxing when they were 18 to 23 might not pick up, because you could be good, but you're going up against people who have been doing this since they first learned how to walk and shit. So Mikey Garcia, Terence Crawford, it really doesn't need much introduction in terms of why it's a good fight. It's two undefeated fighters who have a pedigree, and you can sell the story. Mikey Garcia has a good fan base. He does a lot of events in Texas. Terence Crawford shows he has heart, and I told you guys that on my Instagram, and I believe on my video that I did on YouTube. This kid has heart. I mean, anyone who's willing to go overseas to fight the champion, like Ricky Burns, I mean, that shows you something. Amir Khan did it against Lamont Peterson, and Terence Crawford did it against Ricky Burns. So it was good to see him have a homecoming fight for his fans in front of Nebraska. And I just want to see this fight a lot. The biggest hindrance in this fight is Mikey Garcia is currently going through litigation and the court shit because he's suing Top Rank to try to get out of his contract. So I really don't know what happens in those specific situations. I'm sure it's like treading on water. There's a gray area. Robert Guerrero was able to get a fight, but as you guys can see, because he's going through the same thing where he's trying to sue Golden Boy or whatever. But look at his opponent. It wasn't a fight of this magnitude, like a Mikey Garcia and a Terence Crawford, a champion, and somebody who, two fighters who, you know what I mean, have a big name in the sport, I guess, or there's a lot of attention on them. He was fighting a guy who Robert Guerrero got 1 million and Kamagai got like 75,000. So it just lets you know, not to say that Kamagai didn't come to fight or he wasn't game, but it wasn't an opponent that the casual fans were familiar with. But if you have Terence Crawford and Mikey Garcia, that's a different fight. It's a different caliber of fight, because you have two undefeated fighters who are coming up and gaining exposure through the ranks. Now, I'm not going to make a prediction video because that in boxing would be a waste of time because there's tons of fights that should have happened. Shit, Gamboa versus Juan Manuel Lopez should have happened. Juan Manuel Lopez, Gamboa should have been happened. And guess what? We never got that fight. Now, I don't even want to see it. Juanma doesn't look like the same Juanma. Since the Orlando Salido losses, he's been through several wars and that kind of thing. Gamboa just lost his undefeated record against Terence Crawford, so really don't even want to see it. Boxing needs to realize and learn from these fights like Juanma and Gamboa that some of these fights have an expiration date. Get this shit made while the fans are craving it, while they're still willing to buy it. Pacquiao, Mayweather, and that kind of stuff. Because the longer you wait, the less lucrative the fights generally are. It's very hard to, at a top class, world class level, to remain undefeated and continue looking good. You know what I mean? Danny Garcia was looking good, and his last outing against Mauricio Herrera, he looked suspect. So a fight with Mayweather and Pacquiao, now it doesn't really seem right to have Danny Garcia thrown in with one of those guys who are proven, because Danny Garcia looked suspect in his last fight. Now he has to get back on track. Same thing with Pacquiao Mayweather. Fans still want to see it, but it's not what it once would have been when Pacquiao was running through bigger guys and Pacquiao hadn't lost in some odd years. Since then, he's lost to Timothy Bradley, whether you liked it or agreed with it or not, and he got knocked out by Marquez. So the fight lost some credibility and lost some of its luster. So I really hope, for the sake of boxing, I hope the boxing gods come together and make Mikey Garcia versus Terence Crawford. It's a great fight. Both young fighters, promoters, trainers even, they need to stop being afraid of fighters taking L's. You know what I'm saying? Taking an L is not the end of the world unless you get dumbass fans who abandon and jump ship. Canelo took a loss. He already bounced back with Angulo, and he's looking to do that against Edeslandi Lara. Now, if he can do that, that remains to be seen. But taking a loss doesn't mean your career's over. Some fighters, they get to, like Shane Mosley, he was taking too many losses, and he didn't look like the Shane Mosley that fought Oscar De La Hoya. That's why after so many losses, I'm like, okay, this is not the same fighter. But taking one loss, you know what I mean? Gamboa, some people are already writing him off. Oh, he has no chin, he's done. You know what I'm saying? How is he done when he was undefeated all this time? Very inactive, but he was still undefeated. And he took one loss to a good, high caliber fighter. I mean, how does that mean his career's over? To do what Terence Crawford did, you have to possess what Terence Crawford has. And not everyone has that. So technically, you can throw Gamboa in there with a lot of guys his size, preferably at like 130. And it's a good fight. It's a competitive fight because not everyone has Terence Crawford's chin, his heart, his willpower, his skill, his ambidextrous style. So, I mean, fans need to stop writing motherfuckers off. Make Mikey Garcia versus Terence Crawford. I'm sure the public wants it. The fans want it. And we'll see what's what. Now, for Mikey Garcia, this is a tough fight for him because he seemed to get bothered at 130 by Burgos in the second round, and also in the second round against Rocky Martinez. Now, the thing about it, Burgos, I mean, he shows he has power, so that's one thing. It was a flash knockdown and whatnot, and then he went on to dominate that particular fight and had Juan Carlos Burgos fighting gun-shy. However, Rocky Martinez is a slippery fighter, but he's not a fighter really known for having power. So moving up to 135 to face a guy who already beat you as skilled as Terence Crawford, that's an intriguing fight. But at the moment, I would definitely lead towards Terence Crawford based on that. He's the bigger guy. I mean, he rehydrated to 152 or whatever the fuck it was against Gamboa. So, I mean, he's big. Mikey Garcia is big too. But, again, that's a new uncharted division for him, 135. And Terence Crawford might be looking to move up to 140 shortly because he's big. His frame is big. Let me know what you guys think. Terence Crawford, Mikey Garcia. Do you guys want to see this fight? Do you hate it? Do you want to see Gamboa and Garcia still? Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like the video. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.